Hi everyone, good morning. Today is 18th of July and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So guys, here in this video, we take the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper along with the background as well as the way forward in the issues that are important for the CSE exam. Moreover guys, I would like to remind you that in this particular video, the explainer PDF that I am going to use, this PDF is available on the Telegram channel. You can download this explainer PDF, okay, and please use it before starting this particular video. Now, first of all, let's first take the overview of the entire newspaper in order to understand that which articles are actually important for our examination. So, the page number one, presidential election today, Murmu has an edge over the Sena. Now guys, so there will be the presidential elections and there is a lot of hope that the Miss Draupadi Murmu is going to be the next president. However, we need to see still this particular thing. Now guys, in this particular article with respect to the UPSC, no substance is mentioned, okay. Moreover, basically how the president election takes place, this particular thing becomes important in your polity. Fine. Then opposition picks Margaret Elva for the vice president poll. Nothing is important in this particular direction again. Focus on food energy crisis, Vidudu. So basically the Indonesian in this particular direction we find that basically Indonesian chief has come into the India and he has given a kind of an interview, and on that particular direction this particular article is just talking about. Much importance is not there. Then after that, moving on, in the city section, regional issues etc has been discussed. However, UPSC related issues are not there. Then guys, moving on, the advertisements etc have been given in between. After that, the Kerala mulling two options in Supreme Court on ESZ case. So this particular article is contained into the text and the context section also. We'll see this one. Then the editorial, two messages from three photographs. So guys, see, this particular article is criticizing that how the governor has become partisan, how the constructive democracy, it is on a decline, how the ruling government is using its powers. Okay, so it is saying that the governor is basically governor is stuffing the laddus in the mouth of the recently chosen chief minister of Maharashtra, and that thing is given. Now guys, with respect to UPSC, nothing has been contained in this particular article, no need to see it. Then the side article, this one for farmers, so it is talking that how the BJP is trying to appease the farmers lobby, okay, and all that particular kind of a thing by the choice of the VP. Fine. Again, the political article, please don't go and see this particular article, nothing is relevant for your exam. Then a lackluster presidential race in the making. So guys, this particular article is talking about this particular thing, that how the approval rating for Mr. Joe Biden has went down, how the Democrats, around two-thirds of the Democrats don't want him to run the next presidential race, okay, and how basically what is the different approval rating and all such kind of things are being discussed. So this is a kind of article for about the internal politics of the USA. For our exam, again, the article is not much relevant. Then the Biden in the West Asia. So guys, here we'll see an overview of the present foreign policy of USA into the West Asia. So we'll see this article, preserving democracy in India. Now the article is again a political article, but we will see some of relevant substance for our UPSC GS paper number 2 fine mains exam. We'll see this article. Then the saint and the sinner. Now guys, this particular article again says that how the BJP is right now basically in a kind of a state where the democratic decline is going on, fine, and the RSS is silent on this particular thing. Okay, so how such kind of issues are there. So basically a very politically inclined kind of an article. Okay. Then coming to the text and the context page, why is Kerala protesting the Supreme Court's ESZ notification? Fine, so we will be seeing this particular entire controversy from the scratch, that what this ESZ is all about, okay, and all these things we are going to see. Then Karnataka's PSI recruitment scam. No need to see the article, nothing is there in this article. Then Elon Musk's Twitter deal goes to a Delaware court. So guys, few days back, the Elon Musk wanted to buy the Twitter. Now he said that I don't want to buy the Twitter, okay, and in this particular direction, this particular matter has reached to a court. Fine, again with respect to UPSC, a not relevant article. Then moving on, 32 bills listed for the monsoon session. So guys, as the monsoon session is beginning, fine, so such however, the opposition says that the monsoon session, it is very short, okay, the duration should be long, fine. So as important bills will be coming, okay, so throughout this particular session we are going to see it onto the regular basis. Then all party meeting in Sri Lanka tomorrow, nothing important. India China holds 16th round of talks on Ladakh. Now guys, on the LAC, fine, these particular round of talks they happen. You don't need to follow every round of talk, fine, what is going there, you don't need to see that particular thing, not important for your exam. Navy decommissions Sindhu Dhwaj. Okay, so the Sindhu Dhwaj has been in service for last 35 years. It was taken from the Russia. Okay, but please don't go too much into the detail in such kind of things again, because guys, the question that comes into the UPSC exam, they are broadly the thematic type of questions that are asked. Fine. However, moving on, after that the political articles etc. has been given. Now this side article, despite SC alarm, bail is still the norm. So this article we are going to see with respect to the reforms into the criminal justice system. Then Margaret Elva, veteran of political comebacks. Okay, so basically the UPA's vice presidential nominee's profile is being discussed. Fine. Then the need to prioritize the food and the energy security. Okay, so guys, the Indonesian president's interviews there, will see that if something important is there. Then only 50% of farmers benefited from the farm loan waivers study. So guys, a very good article with respect to GS paper number 3. We'll see this particular article. Then after that, packed curd, paneer, atta to attract 5% GST. Now you don't need to see. Fine, these particular things will be happening, that some items are being shifted from one slab to another slab. You don't need to say that particular thing. Then other that, now the other articles again are not important. Then guys, further moving on onto the world page, forest fire is going on into the Southwest Asia. Okay, so many countries are right now seeing the forest fire, that is the France, okay, Portugal, Spain. Fine. Russia presses attack on Ukraine's east south. Now this Russia Ukraine, every day to day commentary is coming. Please avoid this particular thing. Fine. At the end we are going to see that what happened out of this particular war, but everyday development are not important. Sri Lankan protesters continue. Then today on Monday we don't have business page, we have this money wise page, and this money wise page contains the advices with respect to the investing, mutual funds, SIPs etc. Fine. However, not important for the UPSC aspirants. Fine, because we hardly have any money. Then the sports. Okay, so the sports page is again there. So guys, that is about the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's take these all the relevant articles one by one in the detail. Now starting up first of all, so guys, in every class I give you one quotation which you can use in your GS papers. So today we are going to take quotation from the Nobel laureate Amartya Sen. So Professor Dr. Amartya Sen says that the poverty leads to an intolerable waste of talent. Is it clear? So guys, poverty is not just an economical problem. Poverty is also a problem where that talent is getting wasted. Why the talent is getting wasted? Because a person who is in poverty, he might or she might not be able to she might not be able to realize the potential of that person. Okay, the person in poverty, the person is strived in meeting the basic needs of the life. Okay, so the person's genius, person's innovation, inventiveness might not be able to come out. Wine, you can use this particular quotation directly in the answers related to the GS paper number 2, where directly the topic of poverty is mentioned, as well as in GS paper number 4. Okay, we can mention such kind of a dimension. Now let's take the first article. Okay, so guys, the article, first of all, let's read the headline, what it says, and then let's see the utility of this article. So headline reads that only 50% of the farmers have benefited from the loan waivers, says a study. Okay, now first of all, where this particular article is going to be important. So guys, this particular article is going to be important in GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, agricultural reforms, agriculture sector reforms. Okay, so there this article is going to be important. Now guys, first of all, I'll tell you that what this article is all about. So this article is talking about the recent State Bank of India research that has been carried onto the impact of the farm loan waivers. Okay, so basically what had happened since 2014, the farm loan waivers that have been given by the different states, their impact has been analyzed and certain findings have been given. Now we don't need to see just the findings that have been given, but guys, we will be taking a deep analysis of this entire issue of the farm loan waivers from the very scratch, and I will also be giving you a very critical analysis that whether this particular kind of a scheme is good or not. So let's start. First of all, before going in this particular article, let's take guys some of the background. So background goes like this, that guys, if we see directly and indirectly, around 56% of the population of India is involved into the agriculture sector, agriculture and allied sector. At the same time, guys, when we talk about the agriculture sector, right now we see that there is a kind of a farm distress that is going in the agriculture sector, and because of that there are high number of farmer suicides. Now, in order to deal with this particular problem, many states have proposed an idea. The idea is the farm loan waiver. Basically, it is proposed that okay, whatever the dues the farmers are having in terms of their loans, that particular dues will be waived off. The state government will pay money for that particular thing. But these farm loan waivers, okay, such kind of relaxations onto the loans have been criticized from the very start. What types of criticisms are? Criticisms are, number one, these the criticism is like that. First of all, the implementation of such kind of programs. Fine, you promise it, but actually the state government doesn't implement it. So this is number one, the criticism. And second criticism is the impact. First is the implementation and second is the impact, that whether on ground they bring some kind of a benefit or not. So this is something that is there. Now guys, first of all, let's see the data with respect to the farm loan waivers. So it has been provided that since 2014 there are the different state governments announcing the farm loan waivers, and 3.7 crore farmers are eligible under these farm loan waivers that are announced by the different state governments. But only 50%, just half of the farmers actually received the amount of the loan waiver till March 2022. So 3.7 crore farmers were eligible, only 50% of them got the benefit. It means that first of all, the implementation part is very much weak. Now guys, in this particular direction, this particular picture, you just focus on it, and there are certain states which have performed good, certain states which have not performed good. Here in the Telangana we find this particular thing, that just the 5% of the eligible farmers, they actually received the farm loan waiver. However, the Chhattisgarh is a state where the implementation has been very much good. 100% of the farmers, they got the farm loan waivers. Similarly, the Andhra Pradesh is the second best state where the 92% farmers actually got the farm loan waivers, but majority states were not able to implement it. Is it clear? Now, basically, the next question comes that actually, guys, when the state government promises that okay, the farm loan waiver is going to be given, then what happens? It impacts the credit culture. It impacts the credit culture. Okay, it impacts the payback culture. For example, there is a state, let's say the name of the state is ABC, and the state promised that okay, we are going to give all the farmers the farm loan waiver. Now every farmer will stop paying its EMI. Every farmer will stop paying its EMI or the loan amount. Now what will happen? Suppose if the state government is not actually giving it, fine, obviously the banks are going to suffer the loss because the farmers have already stopped paying this particular EMI. Moreover, guys, the farm loan waivers also impacts the credit behavior of the farmers. See, I tell you that actually at the end of the day, if a farm loan waiver is being given, then the state government is going to come and going to compensate that particular amount. But it impacts the credit behavior, because whenever the election will come, the farmers will think that there will be going to be a farm loan waiver and everybody will stop paying the EMI. Now let's say government, if doesn't it actually comes out with the farm loan waiver, okay, then it will be a problem that is going to come. Now the report has also provided this particular thing, that what are the reasons that the claims of the farmers have been rejected. So it has been said that first of all, there are many times the arbitrary rejections of the farmers' claims. Sometimes the government doesn't has the money, so because of the low fiscal space, the claims are rejected. Sometimes there is a change in the government. Okay, and then the new government says that the previous government promised it, and it doesn't endorses that particular thing. So therefore, just 50% farmers actually received the farm loan waivers. And I have told you that actually it is wrong because it destroys the credit culture. Moreover, guys, now let's see even more critically that whether these particular farm loan waivers are good or not. So first point is that it impacts the credit culture. Second point, guys, is that actually the money that is being promised in terms of the farm loan waiver, that particular money could have been used to bring the structural reforms in the agriculture sector. For example, better irrigation facilities could have been developed, warehousing facilities for the farmers to store their grains could have been developed, farmers could have been given better technologies, farmers could have been given better aids, fertilizers, etc. by the same money, but that money is being used into the farm loan waivers. So structural reforms, agricultural infrastructure could have been enhanced by that particular thing. Then guys, thirdly, very important part here, guys, now the point into the red. See, basically, I checked the data from the 2011 census. So 2011 census is the latest census that we are having. Now, actually, see who will be getting the benefit from the farm loan waiver? Only that particular farmer who actually owns the land, because only the land owning farmer will get the loan, and then farm loan waiver is also going to help that farmer. But actually in India, large number of farmers are the landless farmers. They don't have any land. Now if I give you the data from the 2011 census, the data from the 2011 census, we find this particular thing, that according to that census there were 263 million person households who were doing the farming. Out of that, 119 million were the landowning farmers, and 144 millions are the landless working farmers. Moreover, guys, the number of landless farmers, its number has increased from 2001 to 2011. Okay, there is a report according to which every hour more than 100 farmers become landless. Why? Because their lands are acquired, they have to sell their land because of the farm distress, etc. And the pattern suggests that in 2021 there will be the even more number of landless farmers. So actually the farm loan waivers, they impact the farmers which have the property, but their number is very much less. So it is not helping the poor farmer. So therefore, whether they are effective or not, very much we are not sure. Moreover, there is one more aspect also, that this is just an exercise of populism. This is just an exercise of populism. Now what is a populistic exercise? Where just you want to attract the people. So it is just a populistic exercise that is being used for the political mileage. So that is all, guys, about this particular article, and now we'll move to the next article. Now, this article we have taken from the text and the context. The article says that why is Kerala protesting the Supreme Court's ESZ, Ecological Sensitive Zone notification. Now, this article will see with respect to GS paper number 3, Environment and Ecology. Okay, now let's see that what this particular article is talking about. First of all, guys, some of the background I would like to give you before going in this particular article. Now when we talk about the Western Ghats are a very important ecological they are very important ecological packets of India. Now in this particular thing, guys, when we talk about Western Ghats, there are 13 national parks that are there into the Western Ghats. Then there are many wildlife sanctuaries that are there into the Western Ghats. According to the UNESCO, Western Ghats are one of the most important biodiversity hotspots. Out of the 8 most important biodiversity hotspots, Western Ghat is one of the most important one. Is it clear? Then it has been said that Western Ghat, it is like a water tank which provides the water to the 6 states, okay, from which the Western Ghat passes. Now the conservation of Western Ghat has actually been a very, very important subject from so many years. Now guys, when we talk about the Western Ghat, for the Western Ghat, actually there was in 2011 Gadgil committee report that was submitted. The Gadgil committee report that was submitted. Now this Gadgil committee report provided that the Western Ghats, fine, all the six states from wherever the Western Ghats is passing, from wherever the region that Western Ghat is passing, we needed to declare these particular regions as ESZ, ecological sensitive zone. So ecological sensitive zone 1, zone 2, zone 3. According to the Gadgil committee report, it was said that the developmental activities are to be restricted. In zone number 1, there cannot be any developmental activity. So Gadgil committee recommended the entire Western Ghats should be converted as the ecological sensitive zone. But guys, the 2011 Gadgil committee report was not accepted, and even it was criticized because it was said that the committee report is just recognizing the environmental dimension, not the developmental dimension. What about the people? Large number of people are staying into these particular regions. Okay, the states, they need the development also, infrastructure also. How that particular thing will happen if the entire Western Ghat will be declared as a ecological sensitive zone? Now guys, when we talk about this Gadgil commission, it was also called as the Western Ghats Ecology Expert Panel. Keep it into the mind that both names are there, Gadgil committee as well as the Western Ghat Ecology Expert Panel. Fine. Now coming back to the present times, see, this was the background that it has recommended such kind of things. Now guys, recently the Supreme Court has passed one particular order, and the Supreme Court has provided this particular thing, that ecologically sensitive zone, now the Western Ghats Committee was not recommended, was not accepted. However, the ecological sensitive zones are there around the Western Ghats. These are the zones around the national park, around the wildlife sanctuaries. So what Supreme Court says now, the Supreme Court says that there needs to be, okay, what I was saying, yes. So I says that the natural national parks are there, wildlife sanctuaries are there, which are the sensitive areas. Now the Supreme Court says that around these national parks, around these wildlife sanctuaries, 1 kilometer of area needs to be now mandatorily announced as an ecological sensitive zone. And here there will be no development, there will be no people living, no mining could be there. So again I'll say that what they say that around the national park, around the national parks, protected areas, minimum 1 kilometer of land should be declared as an ecological sensitive zone. Okay, and they say that every protected area this particular thing will be applicable, there can be no exception. Now the Kerala says that okay, we can implement this particular 1 kilometer ruling in some of the protected areas, but every protected area we cannot implement this particular thing. Why Kerala is having a problem? Because guys, Kerala's unique landscape does not allows Kerala to do that particular thing. Understand this particular thing, that first of all 30% of the Kerala is forest, then the Western Ghat occupies 48% of the state. Moreover guys, in Kerala there are large number of lakes, canals, wetlands. Fine, after that 590-kilometer long coastline is there. Now on all these lakes, canals, wetlands, coastline, there are the different environmental regulations that are there. For example, onto the coastline there is the coastal regulation zone, CRZ, that is applicable, and because of the CRZ much of development around the coastline cannot be done. Fine, many of the wetlands, they are coming under the Ramsar Convention of the wetlands, there the development is very much limited. Around the lakes the development is very much limited. So basically it says that 30% of our land is forest, then there are the lakes, then there are the coastal lines, and all they have been coming under some of the environmental law. Now you say that all the protected areas, there also 1 kilometer land is to be left as a ecological sensitive zone. So where the people will be placed, where the people will be accommodated? It has been said that there is very little space for 3.5 crore people living into the Kerala. The population density of the Kerala is much higher than the national population density. So into the Kerala, population density is 900 person per square kilometer, which is much higher. So already there is a pressure onto the land, and now this particular new ruling will divert much of a land away. So basically the state government says that okay, in this there should not be such blanket application of this particular thing. Now guys, earlier the Kerala government, they issued their ESZ, ecological sensitive zone notification, and actually what they did, some of the areas in the Malabar, Idukki, Kottayur, etc. Some of the areas were there where the protected areas were there, and they left them out of the ecological sensitive zone. There they did not apply the ecological sensitive zone, okay, such kind of a notification. Why? Because there were large number of human population that was living. Okay, there were the government buildings, quasi government board institutions were there. Okay, so they say that blanket application is not possible, and therefore the Kerala government is protesting against the Supreme Court's ESZ notification. Now the Kerala government expects that the central government will intervene in this particular thing, and this particular issue might be resolved in such a way. So this is the entire issue that has been here. Now guys, you don't need to go and track every day the development in this particular direction. Just download this particular PDF from the Telegram channel and read this particular thing. This entire matter will be covered, okay, along with the background that I has given here. Now moving to the next article. Despite Supreme Court alarm, bail is still not the norm. Okay, now this article, first of all, it will be important for GS paper number 2, GS paper number 2 polity, GS paper number 2 polity, criminal justice system reforms, criminal justice system reforms. Okay, now guys, first of all, when we talk about the criminal justice system, what is the meaning of this word criminal justice system? So criminal justice system is, number one, there will be the investigation. Second, there will be the judiciary. Third, there will be the prison. Now let's say there is a person who is accused of doing some crime. So first of all, there will be the investigation that will be carried to see that whether actually person has committed a crime or not. Then there will be the judiciary who will be deciding the punishment if in case that a person has done some crime, or will be leaving this person free if he has not done some crime. And then if a person has done crime, he will be put into the prison. So these three institutions all will be coming into the definition of the criminal justice system. Now this criminal justice system is needed to be reformed. Okay, and this is all about the criminal justice reform that we are talking about. Now after that, now first of all guys, before going in this particular article, let's see some of the background. So the background goes like this. See, what has happened over the past few months, we have seen that many of the people, they have been arrested for the tweets that they have made. Many times it has been said that the people just for the political reasons are being arrested. Now when we talk about the basic principle on which the justice system is placed, it is that a person is believed to be innocent until proved guilty. You are innocent until proved guilty, and if you are innocent, you should not be lodged into the jail, but the people are being put into the jail, and a large number of under trials are actually there into the jail. Now guys, if I tell you, recently the Chief Justice of India had pointed that 80% of the people out of the 6.10 lakh prisoners that are there into the jail, 80% are the under trials. It means that these 80% people are the ones whose crime has not been proved, but still they are into the jail. So 80% under trial rate, it is very much high, one of the highest into the entire world. So basically there is a kind of a provision of bail. Clear? Now the bail should be a norm and the jail should be an exception. Again I'll repeat, bail should be the norm and the jail should be an exception. This particular thing is there. But in India we find this particular thing that the jail is a norm and the bail is an exception. So Supreme Court had said that we need to reduce these indiscriminate arrests that are being made. We need to reform the bail system in India. Fine, getting a bail needs to be made a kind of an easy affair. Fine, under trial prisoners who are actually increasing, their numbers are needed to be brought down. Now at two different instances, the Supreme Court has talked about this particular thing. Recently, the Chief Justice of India had provided that government needed to immediately re-examine the criminal justice system. Bail needs to be given with much of an ease. Jail should not be there. Moreover, in the second instance, the Supreme Court suggested that we need a new bail act where the bail as a matter of right should be given to the people. But guys, still we find this particular thing onto the ground that it is difficult to get the bail, and even if a person is able to get the bail, such tough conditions are put on that particular person that a person is actually not a free man. Even the judiciary, the Supreme Court has put such kind of restrictions on such kind of people who are getting the bail, or first hand the bail is not given. Now the question comes, now even if this particular thing had said that in our criminal justice system, the process is itself the punishment. The process is itself the punishment. Clear? So the process, that is the judicial process that is going on, there the person is being put into the jail, itself it becomes a punishment. Now guys, it has been provided by the Supreme Court that the police in India, the police state cannot exist within a democracy. Fine, police state cannot exist within a democracy. So the bail reforms are needed to be there. And guys, moreover, in this particular direction, even the police needs to be very much sensitive, and for every routine matter, the arrest should not be made. So this is some deep needed structural reforms that are needed in India. Okay, now let's see that how the government reacts on this particular thing laterwards. So that is all about this particular article guys, and see, please use these particular keywords that police state cannot exist within a democracy. Okay, police state cannot exist within a democracy. Fine, process is the punishment. Are you getting it or not? This particular data that under trials are around 80% into the Indian jails. These data are very important for your answers. Please note them down. Okay, dear Telegram channel, please pin. Okay, dear Telegram channel, is the link is mentioned into the description box. Moreover, you can search into the Telegram also. Okay, why the 1 kilometer area should be left around the national parks and wildlife sanctuaries? Niranjan, 1 kilometer area is now to be left where there should be no habitations and such kind of a thing. This order has been given by the Supreme Court. Why? Because the animals find they don't know that okay this is a boundary. Okay कि हमको इसके अंदर में ही रहना है. Sometimes they venture little bit outside of this particular national park also. So therefore an additional buffer zone, okay, additional layer is to be left here. Fine, moving on. Now the next article, bidden in West Asia. So guys, see this particular article, you don't need to go too much into the deep in this particular article. You don't need to make notes out of this particular article. Just this particular article is giving an overview of the USA's foreign policy into the West Asia. Clear? This particular article, guys, we are going to see with respect to the GS paper number 2, international affairs, and if your optional is political science and international relations, then this particular article is particularly of your interest. Now, first of all, why this particular article has come? Because the USA President Joe Biden is on a visit of West Asia. And in this particular context, this particular article is just talking about. Now guys, let's discuss that what this particular article discusses about. So now basically the Joe Biden's or the USA's focus into the West Asia are majorly the two countries. One is right now the Israel, and actually second are the Sunni Arab countries. Okay, and into this Sunni Arab countries, basically the Saudi Arabia is one which is particularly very interested. It is country where US is very much interested. Now guys, first of all, when the Joe Biden has visited the Israel, into the Israel, Joe Biden has provided this particular thing that now one thing I want to tell you that Israel and Iran, they are having a kind of a very big rivalry. Now Iran is right now going for the uranium enrichment program. Okay, they are enriching the uranium. There are the fears that the Iran might enrich the uranium to such an extent that they will make a nuclear bomb out of it. Now Israel and Iran, they are having the rivalry, and the USA had promised to the Israel that we will use all our strengths and we will make sure that the Iran is not able to make the nuclear bomb. Okay, so in Israel, the USA's president visited. However, when he visited the Israel, he did not made any mention onto the Palestine. Okay, now guys, you might be knowing this particular thing that there is the Israel-Palestine dispute that is going on. Basically, within the Israel, there is the Palestinians who say that the Israel is an illegally occupied territory. Rather, in place of Israel, there should have been a country that is the Palestine. Are you getting it or not? So there is a Palestinian demand that is going on. Fine. Now on to the Palestinian matter. There are the different views of the different countries. USA did not mention much onto this Palestinian issue. Fine. They have just assured the Israel that the Iran will not be able to get this nuclear bomb. Moreover, basically when we talk about the Saudi Arabia, guys, fine, just 4 years back in 2018, there was a report that came by the CIA of the USA. They said that the Saudi Arabia has ordered the killing of one of a journalist who were the dissident there. Okay, and at that point of a time, Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince of the Saudi Arabia, he was condemned. Okay, now what has happened? Now the USA is embracing the Mohammed bin Salman, the crown prince. Okay, and it means that now the USA had decided that Saudi Arabia will not be held accountable for the killing of that particular journalist. This is a different viewpoint that the USA is now taking. Now guys, it has also been provided by the USA that USA will not leave the West Asia in isolation, because if USA will leave the West Asia into the isolation, China and Russia will come into the West Asia and they will try to exert their control into the West Asia. Moreover, now when we are talking about this particular visit of the USA, the Joe Biden has talked about that the human rights, it is the major concern that the USA wants to pursue into the West Asia. But at the same time, the USA is showing a kind of a double standard. Number one, Israel's violent occupation of the Palestinian territories, fine, there no human right is being talked about. Secondly, guys, the basically many of the Arab dictators, they have basically used their powers and they have curbed the human rights. That particular thing has also not been discussed by the USA. Now further that, guys, when we talk about this particular time, Fine. First of all, into the West Asia, the preceding presidents have focused onto the different areas. For example, the Barack Obama. Now, Barack Obama, fine, he first of all tried to bring the peace into this entire West Asia. But when that particular thing was not successful, then Barack Obama focused onto the Iran nuclear talks. Iran nuclear talks. Now, what are these Iran nuclear talks? I told you that there are the accusations onto the Iran that they are enriching the uranium in their facilities and they are trying to make the nuclear bomb. Now what happened basically during the time of the Barack Obama, when he was the president, joint comprehensive plan of action was signed between the P5 plus 1 countries. P5 plus 1 country, here Iran agreed on this particular thing that okay, we will not go for the uranium enrichment beyond a particular level, but in exchange the sanctions that were imposed onto the Iran, they were to be removed. So this joint comprehensive plan of action was started. Even Iran opened their nuclear facilities for the international inspection. All these particular things were going on. But what happened? Then the Donald Trump came, he became the president. He cancelled this particular joint comprehensive plan of action. He withdrew from that particular thing. And since then, the Iran talks have fallen down. Donald Trump, rather on to the other hand, he actually brought something good, that was the Abraham Accords. Now, what was Abraham Accords? Abraham Accords was a kind of a normalization agreement. What is a normalization agreement? See guys, after coming of the Abraham Accord, the Israel, UAE, Bahrain, their relations got normalized. Earlier between the Israel and UAE Bahrain, the diplomatic relations were not there. Now after this Abraham Accord, the Israel and UAE Bahrain, they have established the diplomatic relations. Okay, so this is a good thing that has happened, and in a way it will bring some kind of a peace. Now Mr. Biden, he have become the president, though he had condemned the earlier president Donald Trump because of many of his policies, but he have embraced this particular policy of Abraham Accords. Okay, basically what has happened now today, the Joe Biden is only concerned on one particular thing: regional balance and energy security. Is it clear or not? And he wants to accelerate the Israel and the relations between the Israel and the other Arabian countries, the relation between the Israel and UAE, etc. Now it has been said that at this particular time, the Joe Biden is also concerned into the energy security. Now see this particular thing, that Russia-Ukraine war is going on, and as Russia-Ukraine war is going on, the Russian oil, it is not able to enter into the market. Much of the Russian oil is not coming because the USA is imposing the sanctions onto the Russia. Therefore, now the USA is reaching to the Saudi Arabia and asking the Saudi Arabia that you increase the production of the oil. Okay, and for this particular thing also, the Saudi Arabia is being reached by the USA. But the question comes that first of all, the Saudi Arabia, will it actually be pumping the oil? Will it be increasing the production? Two reasons are there. Number one, Saudi Arabia is already very much closer to the Russia. Okay, so whether Saudi Arabia will listen to USA or whether it will listen to Russia, this is one concern. Second concern is that Saudi Arabia right now, Saudi Arabia's oil reserves are going down. Moreover, Saudi Arabia wants to maintain the high prices of the global oil that are there. So whether Saudi Arabia will actually be listening to this particular thing or not. Moreover, guys, it has also been provided that now the Joe Biden actually has failed on one particular front. The front is this joint comprehensive plan of actions revival. Now it was expected that once Joe Biden will come, he will revive this joint comprehensive plan of action, which was cancelled, which was shunned by the Donald Trump, but that thing has not happened. Just the blocks are being built against the Iran, and that is not going to help. So basically the question that has come here is that the USA's concern has failed on Palestinian issue, has failed on addressing the Iran, and this is something which is going to be costly over the coming years. Moreover, guys, many articles on this particular line we have seen. Few days back I have discussed one article also where we said that the Iran is being isolated by the West, but this has actually helped the Iran. Iran is becoming more resilient. Okay, Iran is actually internally thriving. So this is something that has been there in this particular article. So guys, I hope that you are able to form a kind of a good overview, a good understanding as what is the US's foreign policy into the West Asia in present times. Okay, now moving to the next article. Preserving democracy in India. Now guys, see today's editorial page articles are very politically inclined. Okay, so guys, those articles are not at all relevant. Now this particular article, it has a little bit of substance that we can use into the UPSC our exam. Moreover guys, again, many of the political many of the political references have been given in this particular article. You don't need to see that particular political reference, and even in your answers the political references should not be reflected. Now, what this particular article says. So guys, this article first of all will be important for GS paper number 2, the role of opposition, the role of opposition in parliamentary democracy. So it says that we need to preserve the opposition. Opposition plays a very important role in a democracy. Fine, it has been said that the vigilant opposition is very much necessary. Now when we talk about the Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, the chief architect of the Indian Constitution, fine, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar provided that a democratic executive needs to fulfill two conditions. Number one, executive needs to be stable. Okay, executive needs to be stable, as well as executive needs to be responsible. These two conditions are needed to be ensured, and in order to ensure the responsibility of executive, a vigilant opposition plays a very important role. Now the article says that, see, we have example of the England number 1. Now England has adopted the parliamentary democracy. Even our India's democracy is too much inspired from the parliamentary democracy of the England. Now into the parliamentary democracy of England, they have two types of responsibility imposed onto the government. One is the daily responsibility and other is the periodic responsibility. Now how the daily responsibility is ensured? Every day whenever the session is meeting, the questions are asked from the government. So basically there are the questions that are asked, the resolutions that are passed, then there are the no confidence motions that are raised at certain instances, then there are the adjournment motions that are again raised on certain instances, then all these particular thing is done, and by that particular thing the government's accountability is ensured, the government's responsibility towards the people is ensured. Fine, so this is the daily assessment, daily responsibility keeping, and then the periodic assessment of the government is done by the people through the elections. Now guys, when we talk about the USA's democracy, in the USA there is a presidential democracy that is there. Now into this presidential democracy, this daily assessment is not possible. Okay, daily bringing the president into the Congress and holding him accountable is not possible. Only periodic responsibility, periodic accountability taking of the government is there. Now when we talk about India, India is a parliamentary democracy onto the line of the England, and we have an opportunity that we can hold the daily as well as the periodic responsibility of the government. And who will be holding the daily responsibility of the government within the parliament? Obviously that is the opposition. So vigilant opposition is actually very much important. Vigilant opposition can even provide the, guys please note down the word, constructive criticism, and this constructive criticism is the bedrock of the democracy. Clear? Constructive criticism is the bedrock of democracy, and this constructive criticism can only be provided by the opposition. Now why these particular things are actually being made? Guys, recently the Prime Minister as well as the ruling government has made many remarks. For example, the Congress Mukt Bharat. Now when they are saying the Congress Mukt Bharat, fine, obviously this particular thing is there, that who is the opposition? Opposition is the Congress. So Congress Mukt Bharat means the opposition Mukt Bharat. So if there will be no opposition, the government will be becoming a kind of a, just there will be a kind of a dictatorship, a kind of an authoritarianism might be there. Is it clear? Now the question comes that when the opposition criticizes the government, okay, when there are the agitations against the public opinion, such kind of things are good. Even the duty has been provided by the government. Okay, duty has been provided that there needs to be kept in check. Now the next question comes that actually there are the many of the issues that the draconian powers have been used. Prevention of Money Laundering Act has been used against the opposition members. Okay, so such kind of things can be checked, kept in check by the opposition. So opposition is very much important. Is it clear? So this is something which has been said in this particular article. Now guys, we'll be moving to the next article. Now, need to prioritize the food and energy security. Okay, now this particular article, guys, it is a interview with the president of the Indonesia. Now basically the president of Indonesia had said that many of the basic generic kind of things are being discussed. For example, it is being said that basically he has tried to bring the peace between the Russia and the Ukraine. Secondly, he is saying this particular thing that now there is a need that we need to address the food crisis that is going into the world, okay, and all such kind of things are there. However, you, if you want, you can just read this particular interview, but with respect to the UPSC, much of the academic and issue based substance is not there. Very general kind of a discussion has been made. So just please read that particular thing. So that is all about this particular article, guys. I hope that you have understood it. And now we come to an end to the today's newspaper. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, guys, please take care of yourselves, and rather than just reading, I always emphasize this particular point that also focus on revision. Fine. So that is all about it. Thank you so much. Now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.